I need to remove this wild olive tree here because it's going to end up, it's too close to this Montmorency cherry. Montmorency cherry. And I just want to show some basic things of, this tree is actually taking really good. The root system is really strong. It's almost no movement. And the root crown is at the right level. The root crown is right here, just barely under the grade. And that was good. So this has been in the ground for about 3 years. And now it's a good time to pick which leaders you want to develop into your main limbs. Now this direction is south facing. So you want good shade on that. The tree is going to get hammered in the summertime with a lot of sun. So you want good branches that are going to develop good shade in that direction. And ideally you want the tree to be balanced on all 4 sides, all 4 cardinal points. But this tree actually has good branch distribution choices. There's a lot in here. I mean, I see this one right here, obviously, as a really good leader going to the south. This one to the east, obviously a really good leader. This one in here, it's growing, it's sort of competing to grow towards the east, but it's a little bit more to the northeast. I mean, this is actually kind of southeast, and this one's actually east, but anyways, what you do when you prune something like this is just do a little bit. Do the obvious ones that are like this is colliding right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's growing into another branch. That's obviously not good. So you pick which one should go. Should it be this nice, healthy branch, big one, or this little annoying twig? Well, of course, just take out the little annoying twig. Fruit tree pruning is a little bit different than, the principles are the same, but then a heritage oak or something like that. But you could prune it down just to this. Here you got a branch that grows down. Not the most ideal. But these lower ones, these all got to go. See, these are all below the graft, so these are technically what are known as suckers. These, people call them suckers, but they're actually sprouts. Latent sprouts or epicormic shoots. All those suckers got to go. And so I'm going to trim this thing up. Do the like people always ask me, how do you know which ones to prune? The basic rule of thumb is on trees that's really easy, that'll help you, is the 3 Ds. Anything dead, anything diseased, and anything deformed. And some people say anything dead, anything diseased, and anything decaying. To me, something that's decaying is sort of disease, so it's in the same category. But like, it's really cold out here, so I got my earmuffs. I don't need these anymore. But so anything dead, dying, or deformed. This tree's pretty healthy. It doesn't even have anything dead yet. This little cherry tree's doing really good. But so deformed would be not the form that you want. So anything that's not the form that I want is a deformation. So it's deformed from what I actually want it to be. And this is a cherry tree. I'm not pruning a heritage oak or something like that, where you want to leave the natural deformities in a wild tree because they look cool and the tree adapted in nature and it grew however it grew because of the external forces of nature. But here, this is a controlled environment. We're growing fruit trees here. So, okay, I got this little leader, this little sprout in here. It's trying to make a little, what's going off this leader? That's obviously going to come out. Now, the term dead, dying, and deformed is kind of subjective. It's just a rule of thumb. Obviously, you want to take out anything that's dead and anything that's dying, like if it's diseased. And deformities, now this is where people get into philosophical viewpoints, because a deformity might look nice to somebody. And if you want like some swooping branch that's twisted, that looks really cool and gnarly, yeah, then save it. But this is a fruit tree, and we're trying to prune a fruit tree to be uniform and productive, so it's different. This one's growing towards the inside. That one's gonna come out. This one's growing right upside and the inside. I'm gonna open up the inside a little bit here. And here I got a leader that's growing out towards the southwest, and a smaller one that's trying to compete, and they're almost growing parallel side by side. I'm gonna take one of these out. Oh boy. All these lower ones, I'm gonna just take all these suckers below the graft. They're all coming out. So what you're looking for when you're pruning is what you're going to save first. That's the first thing I look at. I look at which leaders are going to be the ones I'm going to save and not cut. So anything that gets in the way of those are the ones that get cut. So you want your branches to grow up and away, out at angles, sort of like an upside down pyramid or upside down funnel shape. Up and away from the center. You pick your best branches, and anything that gets in the way, I'm taking the suckers off the bottom right there. Here's the tag. I like taking these tags off and putting them somewhere else, like on the stake. And yeah, this guy's too low. This guy's coming off. This guy's on the inside. The inside. This little guy coming off here. Yeah, a lot of those tags that are on trees, especially the stiff plastic ones that have sort of a locking ratchet sort of lip mechanism where they're strapped on really tight. I don't like those around the tree because as the tree grows, they develop a scar right there. You know, I don't like anything that scars my tree. So I always loosen those up or take them off completely. Yeah, and this is early February, which is a good time of year to do this, when everything is dormant. The worst time of the year to do heavy pruning is in the spring when the buds are coming out and they're just starting to form buds and pop open. You can do light pruning that time of year, but don't do heavy pruning that time of year. That's sensitive. This one is the most dominant leader right here. And here's the terminal of the stem. I don't know if the camera's catching that. Oh boy. Let's see. This one's growing towards the middle of the tree. This one's growing towards the middle of the tree. Oh, and the question is, should I take this dominant stem out and take it back to another lateral branch that can now assume the terminal role? Should I take it back to this one? Maybe. So you can always leave it because you can always come back later and prune it. So go around, keep walking around the tree and find ones that just, you're like, no, yeah, that one needs to come out. Like this one right here. This one is growing into this guy's territory here. This one right here is growing across into this territory over here. This guy's growing up into here. I'm always in favor of light pruning instead of hard pruning. When you prune peach trees, though, you got to prune hard. This one that's growing down, overall, I don't like that. You know, at this stage, I could almost take this guy out because I've got this for a leader, this for a leader, this for a leader going to the northeast. I got leaders over here. So I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the most dominant stem would be 6. 6 leaders. And there's different philosophies on pruning. Some people leave, you know, you can do the standards 3 or 4 liters, which if I was doing 3 liters, not liters like volume, but liters like leadership, leader, I would do 1, 2, 3. Those 3 probably. If I was going to do 4, I would cut this off here and have 4. I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cut this off here. And these would be the 4 liters. The question is, do I want to prune it that way? Because you can leave more liters, but then you have to do more attentive pruning. And like most commercial production, fruit tree pruning techniques are not going to leave more than 4 liters. Usually it's about 4 liter branches and growing out up and out at angles like this. I mean, I could make a compromise and trim this guy right here. And this could be a liter growing out this way. Or I could just go for it and take this off and say these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would end up being the liters. It would still have 5 liters. I'm going to go for it. 5 liters. It's a bold decision to make. It's such a beautiful stem, you know. But you know what? With this dominant center stem out, these other guys are going to get all that energy. And they're going to become, you know, they're going to grow in a more robust fashion. With this guy's dominating in here, and he's going to shade out all these guys. If I take this guy out, there we go. I can prune that stub a little bit closer. It's hard doing it, holding on with. Well, this guy right here, see, I got this potential leader right here, this top one, and this guy right here. Not only does this have a V crotch, which is not good, but it's also competing with this guy being the leader for its space, which is going to be growing to the east. I'm going to take this guy out. See, first I'll take out the weight. See, remove the weight first, and then do it that little snip, close snip right there. Well, I got 5 liters on this little fruit tree. And then you know what people often do is they go around when they're done and you take all the remaining shoots and they cut off like a quarter or a third and trim them off. Pink, 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 pink. And since this is such a young tree, I'm not going to do that. And there's reasons why. It doesn't need it right now at this stage. It's just a young little developing tree, and I've already pruned it pretty harshly. And these tips produce auxins. They produce hormones that stimulate root growth. So I'm just going to leave them for now. If this was a bigger, mature tree, I'd go around and snip all these. Snip, 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 like that. But I'm not going to. Not right now. Nope. This tree's had enough. It doesn't need stakes because the roots have developed, they've anchored into the earth really strongly. Yeah, this guy's going to do good.